You realize all this shit that's been happening here in the United States, all the gun violence happening in the schools, why are people screaming about this shit? Now, yeah, it's terrible, it's crappy, and asking for, and demanding that things be done, changed drastically, radically. I mean, why? Improve on what's been put in place. That's the problem. If it ain't broke, why fix it? Improve on it. We've had similar systems like this. Yet, honestly, people have just been lackluster and lazy until all gets shoved in their faces. I'm not trying to disrespect the victims. But some of them also, a lot of it's a knee-jerk reaction to what's been happening in this world. And people from the ground up, and people need to really start thinking about it. Don't start demanding knee-jerk reactions and knee-jerk laws. Step back, take some deep breaths, and actually properly look at everything. And from both sides. I mean, the NRA has a lot of good points, but yet they knee-jerk over reactions to gun control and everything. Yeah, somebody could easily take a bow and a quiver full of arrows, and who's proficient in archery and still do the same damage, or a bunch of knives. And I mean, literally, some of these sites, okay, get rid of the Second Amendment. It's one of 10 amendments. The first part of the Second Amendment. So, the second of 10 base amendments that was written at the birth of our country. The entire Constitution would have to be literally rewritten. Just, okay, yeah, you can make an amendment to ratify. It's done before. There was an amendment that ratified the amendment for the prohibition on alcohol. The same thing, there was an amendment that was ratified that limited the presidential terms to basically 10 years total, depending on if it was a vice president that was halfway through his term and he was sworn in if the active president was ill or something or incapacitated, and then he had a chance to run for 2 terms on his own accord. And acting presidents, it was 35 was the age, and to be a natural born citizen. Honestly, yes, it's. But the weapon, the gun control, the guns aren't the true issue. It's no one's actually implementing this be nice policy. Be nice. And one person who actually, teenager, who was thinking about doing what he did not too long ago, actually talked to his parents because he was afraid and doubt. Everything else. There's been one school shooting that everyone forgot about that happened just before the Columbine incident. Little Rock, either Little Rock or Littleton, Arkansas middle school shooting. Those middle schools were the original domino. Now I found out why they did it. Now with Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, quite possibly why to them all those years ago, Yeah, they planned on blowing up the school and taking as many of they thought you should about them. Probably stop and think about it. Maybe everyone thought they were just evil. Well, all that, no one actually stopped and think about what happened with them. Why were they bullied by a lot of their peers then? Everyone's asked. There was an English professor for the Virginia Tech shooting that noticed her student was, and the Virginia Tech shooter was not right. He was he was disturbed, and tried to actually bring notice about it, but yet nothing was done. She took notice, tried to actually prevent it, tried nipping in the bud before it happened, but it was swept under the rug because she found some of his works, his writing pieces were disturbing. She noticed there was something not quite right, and it still ended in tragedy. It's taking now these latest strings of school shootings. The one, I mean, bitching and complaining and knee jerking to something that should have actually stopped, should have been done. Everyone's reacting, more or less, is reacting to what's been happening versus being proactive. Should have been proactive this whole damn time, but really didn't give a shit. It was more reactive. Really, it's really needing to be more proactive and being more while being while being sympathetic and empathetic to the survivors and the victims, while thinking this through, thinking these potential laws through and everything else. This needs to be all this is just way too goofy. It's just not right. It's gut reaction in people, and just need to take a step back and hopefully common sense will prevail, which I don't know. Right now, I don't know. That is good. It's not, I don't know. Just be more proactive. Think things through. Wow. Taking account of both sides from both sides of all, and approach it with some and hope and that it isn't gonna go, doesn't end up being another power gate.